Today on the Guitar Reliquary, I'm going to be talking to you about my Telecaster. This guitar started out actually as pieces and was put together and assembled by me. So every guitar player at one point or another has put together a parts caster. I chose to do the Tele because I had the nice Strat that we went over in the last video. So last year I was on the lookout for parts to make a Telecaster. And I stumbled across on Reverb this really cool body. So this body was unfinished. It was a two-piece basswood body from Walla Guitar Company in Walla, Washington. And it came unpainted, had a light sanding to it, nothing extensive, and had the neck plate screws drilled, so you could mount the neck to it, but everything else, oh, and it might have had the string screws mounted as well, and it had the pickup cavity and also the control cavity routed, but, you know, no humbucker rings or anything, screws mounted or anything like that, and nothing for the specific bridge that I was going to use. Had to have the string-through body holes so that you could use a string-through body bridge. So they sent this to me, I think it was last June, and I'll try to scrounge up a picture, and I decided I was going to paint and finish this thing. So I sanded the body some, not much, just a little bit, and then applied by hand with an old t-shirt the stain, and when it went on, it really didn't look electric violet. So I used a lot more than the recommended amount of stain just to get it to this dark color. And the electric violet was like a pretty deep purple in the color swatch. So I was like, But I didn't mind because this sort of purple, sort of maroon color really worked for me. And I gave it a coat. I didn't really like that it was homogeneous, and so I did a little burst. I did some sanding in the center to make it a little lighter in the center, and then of course on the back. And this is a really beautiful piece of rosewood, of basswood. As you can see, it has a nice figuring, and so the back of it looks really good. I actually wish that the front of it looked the same as the back now that I've assembled it, but that ship has sailed, as they say. So anyways, after I had stained the body, I sprayed it with a satin nitro finish from the Stu McDonald satin, spray cans. Outside, I had this suspended from my daughter's swing set, and I gave it, 6 coats or something. I did a really good job on the front, really good job on the back. I did not do such a good job on the sides. I had a lot of orange peel. I had a lot of drips and drops, and I had a lot of areas where the stain was not uniform. So I decided I would just sand it flat, see what it looked like, and it got this kind of cool relict thing going on all the sides, and so I just kept it that way. I could have stained over the nitrocellulose, and it probably would have taken care of it, but I thought it came out pretty good, looked kind of relict. So after that, I had to buy a neck. I opted for a roasted maple Fender Mexico neck. I love the roasted maple necks, as you know, from my Strat, and I got the same thing for this. This is a little different, though. This is a 12-inch radius neck as opposed to a 9.5, which is what is on the Strat, and it has jumbo frets as opposed to the medium jumbos on the Strat. It also has a gloss lacquer on the fretboard as opposed to a satin lacquer, which is what is on the Sweetwater exclusive Strat. So I put the neck on. I did clean up the nut. So the nut on these necks generally is really tall and needs to be worked down. So I did that, filed it to the appropriate depth. I mounted it with a black backplate, black mounting screws. I installed black string ferrules for the through body. I went with all black hardware, so I put on a black PRS pickup ring because I like the rounded, beveled nature of it. I put on a black hipshot bridge. I put in a satin black control plate. I actually just wanted to have a volume, but the ones that were in stock had the volume and the tone, so I wired it up with both volume and a tone. I think they're CTS pots, maybe Van Halen pots. They're pretty fast, so they're probably the Van Halen pots. I think I had a couple of those lying around. I put in the jack. I forget what they call this kind of jack. I'll put it on the screen for you to see, but I put in this jack that actually is screwed in as opposed to the ones that are just pushed in. It has the two black screws that are holding the jack in place. And then I went with a 3-string tree, not because I needed to, but because I had it. And I put on some Fender locking tuners that I had cannibalized from another Fender that I had bought that had them on it. They are the staggered ones, so they help eliminate the need for the string tree anyways, and the break angle is fine. Of course, truss rod adjustment is at the nut rather than at the body. A lot of people like the at the body ones because it's vintage accurate. I do not, because you have to take the neck off when you have a guitar that has no pick guard in order to adjust the truss rod on the neck. So I have this strung up with D'Addario XS 11 to 49 strings, which is my pretty standard gauge that I run on most guitars. It's in standard tuning, and it has an interesting bridge pickup, and it just the one pickup. It is a Seymour Duncan Sentient in the bridge position. So the Sentient is actually a neck pickup paired with either the Nazgul or the Pegasus. That's what I have in the neck of my Mayones Hydra guitars. But it was kicking around. I think actually my dad had it, and I was like, hey, I need a humbucker for this Tele I'm building, and I got it from him. And it surprisingly sounds good. It's like a middle-of-the-range humbucker. I think you'll see in the demo that it gets some pretty cool Telecaster tones, even though it's a humbucker. And it works in the guitar for me. So I was going to replace it with a dedicated bridge pickup, like a JB or something, but I haven't found the need to do that. So I hope you'll enjoy the demo, and let me know what you think of the Tele and the tones that I get out of it.